All right. Thank you for tuning into another episode. Hopefully, I get the technology right this time, but thank you for rocking with me on a Friday. A couple things to cover, so let's go ahead and get into it. Patrick Mahomes um, was asked today, does he feel like he's being evaluated differently because he's a black quarterback? And he said, I don't want to go too far and say that. Obviously, the black quarterback had to battle to be in the position that we're in, to have this many guys in the league playing. And I think every day we're proving that we should have been playing the whole time. So it's always weird when you see guys like Lamar, Kyler kind of get them, other guys don't. At the same time, we're going out there and proving ourselves every day and show we can be some of the best quarterbacks in the league. You know, it's interesting because he's turning to be the face of the league. Obviously, Tom Brady is aging out, Aaron Rodgers is aging out. He's the new face of the league. And I saw recently a defense coordinator say you take away his first read, he turns into a scramble quarterback. And obviously, there's the tax on Kyler. There's another anonymous defensive coordinator that said something about Lamar that, you know, he doesn't really see him as a quarterback. You couple this with, some of the things that we've heard said about quarterbacks before, couple this with the fact that guys like Cam Newton are, not even in the league right now. Um, it's just interesting. I didn't want to put the Kyler Murray homework clause thing in that vein because, hey, when he has that quote from the New York Times and he has that situation where it's in the contract, something must be going on. If there's smoke, there's fire. But at the same time, you would be naive not to point out that, hey, these guys are being viewed a little bit differently. They don't get as long of a runway as their other counterparts. So he was the individual that got the NFL to move on the George Floyd situation. So his words actually hold more power than just a random guy saying. He's kind of told the line being a good face of the league, but having some edge to him a little bit, where he'll say things like that. He's not just going to hold the company line. So it'll be interesting to see what goes, what comes of this. I think him saying this, I don't know if it changes anything per se, but I mean, you'd be naive not to say, hey, like Lamar has been a MVP in this league. Kyler Murray was an MVP candidate. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, uh, Cam Newton, MVP. And it seems like these guys are getting nitpicked and scrutinized more than other guys. They don't get the same opportunities, the benefit of the doubt as other guys do. So it's interesting to see. It's again, I don't know why the Cardinals could think that this was a good idea to put this in the contract. Um, if they put it in, they put it in for a reason because they didn't like his study habits. But to mandate it like he's a child in study hall, and then that these contracts are public and everybody's trying to make content, me included. So there are going to people who look at the contracts. That's the first thing you do. You hear a contract number, and then a week later, somebody says, "Oh, I went over the contract. The guarantee is really this. The clause, the contract has this clause, it has that clause." We're going to talk about another contract here in a second. So I don't know why you think you can get away with this type of thing. Like, how didn't you guys foresee that this would be an issue? So I think, obviously the Cardinals did him a disservice. Kyler Murray did himself a disservice by not looking at the contract. But at the same time, it's not really his job to look at the contract. It's his agent's job. So if he was aware of this, then, it's everybody's fault. Because if he knew, then, they all look crazy. But it might have just been like thing like, oh, they mandated that they want you to, did they, his agent should have looked out for him a little bit more in this situation as well. So I don't know, crazy story. We'll see if it motivates the three guys to work harder and get some hardware, MVP, Super Bowls, things of that nature. But these three guys, they kind of have been under fire this off season, and you can't really deny that. I see that they're splitting reps in Carolina. I just think they're a dumb franchise. If you're bringing a guy in and trading him, that means you're not comfortable with Sam Darnold. If you're not comfortable with Sam Darnold, give all the reps to Baker Mayfield. He's behind the eight ball, no OTAs, no mini camp, no time to throw with his receivers, off-season workouts. It doesn't make sense to have this full competition. Like it's either he's a starter or not. And honestly, that whole regime, the Matt Rule, David Tepper regime, they have been, all over the place since the very beginning. So that just doesn't really make any sense to me. The next thing I wanted to talk about was I saw that Draymond Green wants a max contract. And I don't know if this is true or not. He didn't go for a max contract his last deal. So I don't know why, he would try to go for a max contract now. I've heard other players say that, they are envious of the type of player that he is and they wish they had that type of player on their team. But the truth of the matter is, and you saw it in this finals, his shooting has become so poor that he's unplayable at times. And the reason why he's playable is because he plays with a Steph Curry and a Klay Thompson that he can run dribble handoffs. He can run pick and roll, and two guys have to trap Steph Curry, or two guys have to defend him, leaving him an opportunity to play make. So if he were to go to another team, is he as valuable? The answer is no. But at the same time, could the Warriors replicate what they're getting from Draymond? He's a truly unique player. So he's overrated and underrated at the same time. Like, those that said, there was a time where people rated him a top 25, top 30 player. I never agreed with that because he needed the Warriors so much. But at the same time, the Warriors needed his juice as well. It's easy to say, hey, he's taking the ball while they're trapping Steph Curry and has an advantage 3-on-2, 4-on-3 situations. But a lot of players can't do that. A lot of big men can't do that. And then obviously his defensive versatility and the energy and the passion and the craziness. Like they say, Charles Barkley said, you need one crazy guy on your team, one guy that's going to start it up and get into with other players. And, he brings the energy and the intensity. So is he worth a max? No. Would the Warriors play him next? Probably not. They're running up against salary cap issues as it is. Every dollar that you pay, once you get to a certain threshold, I think you have to pay $3 in tax. So I don't know why that would even be a consideration. Now, I do think Draymond's in the money game right now, as in he's starting a lot of businesses. He has his own podcast. I think he doing the tequila with LeBron. Everybody got a tequila now. That's all the world drinks. I was at Vegas, got a section, homies bring some things through. That's all they want to drink, tequila. The Hennessy, they done with the hen dog. They just want to drink tequila. Like it happened overnight. Casamigos came and just flooded the market, and now everybody has a tequila. So it's good business. Shout out to The Rock. I talked to him, he's selling a record number of cases this summer. So he's in the money game. So he's probably thinking, hey, I need to get as much money as I can. This is the last big contract. I need to use this money and invest it other places. He probably saw what Damian Lillard got and say, hey, Damian Lillard is getting paid $60 million towards the end of his contract. This guy that's never been in the Western Conference Finals and won an actual game. So he's probably thinking like, hey, they got to figure it out. They printing money. I need to get paid too. I'm not taking a team-friendly deal. So we'll see what happens because once again, they can't replace him. And there's no one that does what he does. So we'll see. Charles Barkley, it came out today that he is not going to pursue the LIV. He felt it was unfair to keep TNT dangling, and he went back. Now, that's obviously his personal decision. We've talked about the back and forth. It's interesting that all the people who are saying no are not really saying no because of Saudi Arabia. They're saying no because of other reasons. Like Tiger said, it's wrong because the PGA Tour is giving me everything, so I'm not going to turn my back on them. Rahm said, I'm not going to play in, that's not real golf. I came to play against the best and to compete. Um, Charles Barkley is saying it's not the best to TNT, who's taking care of me and all of my advertisers. I'm leaving them in limbo, and Live is taking too long. I'm surprised Live is taking too long. I would have thought that this would have been a layup, but I'm guessing they're at the point now where it's almost diminishing returns. They have so many people. Like I know, like I think Bubba Watson signed up today. I don't know golf, but I know that name like in passing. Like I know it's every time breeze through Sports Center, I've heard the name Bubba Watson. I couldn't pick him up out of two people. I couldn't pick out which one was him, but uh, so they're signing people left and right. So maybe they're thinking like, hey, we got enough momentum. The gravy train is kind of stopping here a little bit. It's kind of like with podcasts and Spotify and these other services. There was a time where you heard every other day, this podcast is getting 40 million. This guy's getting 50 million from here. This guy's getting 70 million from here. But I think that's kind of slowed down. It's like the gravy train on that kind of stopped. Like if you didn't get on that ship when it was leaving the dock, another one's not coming in its place. So, but yeah, he ended up staying. I would have paid him because I think he would have been a draw, but I don't know. Maybe he just thought, hey, it's not worth it. I saw this today, and it's funny. The Sixers are under investigation because of Harden's deal. It's funny when the players are told that they're selfish. Then when a player takes less money, let's go ahead and investigate them. I think that these owners and these other teams, they just be bitching and crying about all types of stuff. Does tampering happen? Of course. Is it good for the league? Of course. All these things are good for the league. Obviously, the Knicks tampered with Jalen Brunson. Everybody knew this was going to happen before the offseason was over. They tampered with him. Do you think it was 12 on 1 when they first started talking contract? They've been talking contract with him for weeks now. They tampered. Who cares? The game is the game. Move on. But I was listening to Bobby Marks. This only can happen if a team complains. So a team must have complained. The league doesn't feel like doing this proactively. You have to complain. So it's obviously multiple teams have complained. Last year they stripped the Bulls and the Heat second round picks for early contact to Lonzo Ball and Kyle Lowry. Like I don't know. The transaction is good for the NBA. So why are you trying to stop it? It doesn't really make sense to me. Another thing, and I'll probably end on this, it brings everything full circle that I saw, is that Zion has a weight uh, limitation in his contract. And let's see. I'm not seeing it here. I think this came out yesterday. So I think the limitation is like he has to be um Zion. Wait. He has to be. Oh, I got my man at 284 pounds up here. So his weight and his body fat percentage must be below a combined 295. If not, the amount of guaranteed money in Zion Williams' contract can be reduced. So the guaranteed money in his contract simply means if he's released, right? He's never going to be released. They're not going to release him, right? Unless, well, I don't know. Maybe you could say he, has an unfortunate string of injuries and he becomes like Greg Oden, where he just can't physically play anymore. So I guess you're protecting yourself, but that's like the worst. That's 0.001% chance of that happening. Like Greg Oden, that hasn't happened since KD got drafted. A player's had that luck with injury. I say that to say this. There was a lot of rumors that he was going to go to the Knicks, right? And he ended up re-upping with the Pelicans. I thought he might consider it, but it's obviously the smart move. With his injury history, take the money. Sign right now. You can't risk it. This is generational money. You cannot risk it. You get hurt to your ACL next year, you could go through, the wilderness, like what happened to Boogie Cousins. Shout out to my man Boogie. But he showed me some love when I was in Vegas. So so I understand that, but this could give him the way to finagle his way out of New Orleans and not look like the completely bad guy. Look, they try to make me seem like I'm a fat ass. They body shame me and shit. That's what they say nowadays. Oh, you body shamed. You're body shaming me. You say like clearly, hey, you're too big to play at this weight and you're body shaming me. But he could say that, hey, they body shame me and, they made me feel uncomfortable and I want to leave and I want to go to the Knicks. You can't really attack, the way society's moving now, people will side with him. If he signed this contract and then a year later asked for a trade, everybody look at you like, oh man, you just took the money and ran. It's not right. What's going on in the league? Now he has an out. So again, like, I don't understand why they would put it in the contract. You're not going to cut him unless it's the worst case scenario. This guy leaving you is the worst case scenario. So why are you playing this like aggro game with him? So a lot of people are high on the Pelicans and what they did this year. Does him and Ingram fit? Is Ingram willing to be a Pippen to his Jordan, which the team told him that's what probably he has to do? Is he willing to do that? So we'll see. I don't think that the door on him going to the Knicks is closed at all. And then lastly, to talk about the Knicks, I don't know where to find this, but Ian Begley, Donovan Mitchell. They said that the trade that they spoke on involved Donovan Mitchell, Mitchell Robinson, and 3 first-round picks. That's not too high. I thought they were going to ask for 7 first-round picks. If you can get, if all they're asking for is Mitchell Robinson, 3 first-round picks, and Barrett, that's not high at all. They have, I think, in the next 4 drafts or the next 2 drafts, they have 7 first-round picks. If you can get him for 3, you still have 4 to play with. You still have 4 that you can attach to Julius Randle's contract if you need to trade him for Zion Williamson, if that comes to pass. The Julius Randle contract is a sizable enough contract that you can fit in another superstar and then attach those picks. This is a fine, this deal is fine. They should accept this deal. So before they get outbid, because Miami can match this deal. Miami has, I think, 3 first-round picks that they can give up. They can give up Tyler Hero, and they can look into something else. But Miami could match that deal. They better jump on that deal. I don't know what the hell their problem is. They better jump on that deal. You're the Knicks. You better figure this thing out. So it's about time that y'all start being good. Your fans are waiting. They're thirsty for a true star to be in the Garden. I think he'll be energized to play in the Garden. Now, Brunson came all the way from Dallas because he wanted a bigger role, and it would be funny if he comes to Dallas and he's in the same situation that he was in Dallas. But that being said, it's code red. You got to go ahead and pull that trigger if it's even still on the table. So, all right, I'll leave it at that. Got some football content I'm about to post here pretty soon. Thanks for rocking with me. The game is a game. All right, thank you for watching this clip. Do me a favor. Push the button. Hit subscribe. Come on, man. Push it.
Call everybody up.
Push the goddamn button.
Push the goddamn button.
You heard what she said.
Man, do what's right. You heard her. Push the button. The game is a game.
So what's up, man? What's up with you otherwise, The game is a game. Always.